Hello and welcome back, all you wonderful Rise of Kingdoms players out there. This is Dragothien here, and we've had some big things happen over the last 12 hours or so. Big announcements, big reveals. We're going to go over both of them today in this video. Wow, there's some big changes coming. So, right up in front of you, I've got the developer notes for what will be massive changes and overhauls coming to the equipment system, which I think a lot of this is a long time coming. I'm glad that they're finally getting around to it because, again, this game has basically been turned into Rise of Equipment. So we need to make sure that we are getting the best possible equipment experience, and this should help. However, still a long way to go. I'm going to show you the response that I sent to the developers whenever they announced it to us as a content creation team that's sponsored by the developers. I'll show you my response to them, my immediate generic response to what I saw and what I'm about to go over. And then after we're done with this, we're going to go ahead and go over what looks to be one of the new meta commanders, and he's infantry. I'm so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am to have an infantry meta commander again. It's been so long. I've been stuck here in the freaking archer gang and cav gang for too long. Damn it. It's infantry gang time. Okay? All right, so let's go over this. Let's go over the equipment changes and projections to what's going to be coming in the future for equipment for those of you that are really starting to partake in this piece of the game, which is very critical, very strategic part of the game, especially when you're talking about fighting in PvP. We got to have top tier equipment, so we got to have the best of the best. Let's go over what they're going to be talking about. So they've collected a lot of useful feedback. That's great. Great start. Useful feedback from governors on the new equipment system since it went live. And there's one glaring thing that I'm still not seeing in here that I think needs to be addressed, and I'll go over that towards the end too. But this is the face-to-face with the developers where they go over things that they want to talk to the populace of Rise of Kingdoms about. And let's go ahead and go over it. First of all, a lot of governors are focused particularly on issues around special talents, which they should be because it's literally like having an extra piece of equipment if you get that special talent. The forging probabilities for special talents can be viewed in-game, and many governors have noticed the mechanism where the one item of equipment must produce a special talent in 5 forgings. That's the way it's labeled in the game. That's the way it was presented. I will say that that's not entirely accurate because there have been times where I've forged 6, 7, 8 of the same item without getting a single special talent proc. And I know other people have as well. So that's a problem. But we feel the system isn't clear enough for many governors, so we would like to introduce a new refinement system. The final term will be yet to be determined in the next optimization. This system allows governors to refine special talents into equipment without repeated forgings. Of course, the original forging mechanism can still produce special talents, but the probability will no longer increase with repeated attempts. So what I think this is going to look like, and I'll continue to read here in just a minute, what I think this means is that you'll be able to craft a piece of equipment, and then you'll have attempts using materials or something, right, to possibly proc that piece of equipment without having to continually remake over and over and over and over the same piece of equipment. This also should hopefully address the problem of you only get 50% of your legendary materials back when you do it. So it depends on how they implement it, which goes into how my response is. So this system allows governors to refine special talents into equipment without repeated forgings. Of course, the original forging mechanism can still produce special talents, but the probability will no longer increase with repeated attempts. We are also planning to inherit previous forged attempts into the new refinement system to allow governors to keep forging with peace of mind. Okay, it should be noted that the cost, probabilities, etc. of refinement remain exactly the same under the existing forging system! We are hoping that these changes will provide governors with a more direct sense of the progress of special talent acquisition. So again, just kind of going over that really quick, it looks to be that it's going to be another mechanism to get a special talent without necessarily having to save up, say, 120 legendary materials for a legendary accessory. So that's good, depending on how they implement it. Obviously, we need to wait and see how that's going to look. As soon as I find out information on that, I will bring it to you on this channel, of course. Secondly, we made some major adjustments to the way in which you receive the quantities of equipment and the quantities of equipment related blueprints and materials, providing greater access to preferred equipment for many more governors. That sounds good. That sounds really good, but I'm scared. I'm scared of that second statement. And again, that'll go to my response to the developers when I saw these patch notes for future patch notes. This includes major updates to equipment chests and a complete overhaul of their content. Current prize pool content is still under review, but we can reveal that we are considering removing blueprint fragments from equipment chests and adding epic and legendary blueprints. This is amazing because it should be like a freaking gold key where you have access to a gold tier blueprint, a full gold tier blueprint, not a fragment of 30, okay? Because it takes thousands of keys to possibly get one full legendary blueprint, and that's probably being pretty generous. We will also be adding resource items, speed ups, and blueprints for epic sets. That's fantastic. Of course, this update will not change the number of gems needed to purchase equipment chest keys. That would also be nice. Not that I buy them that way, but that would be nice. In addition to equipment chests, we are also making some improvements to the VIP shop, courier station, Lucerne scrolls, events, bundles, and other equipment related content. The overall direction will be towards giving governors easier and faster access to the blueprints and materials they desire. That sounds good. We need more ways to get the stuff we need, right? A lot of us that have been playing since the beginning have eventually gotten everything we've needed just playing the game and spending money through gems and bundles and events and things like that to get what we need. More ways in game inherently without having to spend as much would be nice. And I think that's kind of what this last bullet point is kind of offering. Lucerne Scrolls technically is a spending event. If you get the bottom tier, you unlock that bottom tier, but it's a very minimal amount for what you could get if you play the game effectively. Courier Station is a spending event technically with gems, but again, you can farm gems, you can use the event gems that you get throughout the game gameplay cycle, all that good stuff. VIP Shop, same thing. It is technically a spend event to get spending up to the VIP level that you may need to access the changes that they're going to make, etc. But you get my idea. There's going to be inherent ways to get better things, which is good. In addition to the above, we are also planning to significantly reduce material production times. That is also fantastic. It takes, I think there's a spreadsheet out there where if you just produce the materials and you don't buy any materials through the VIP shop, through the courier station, through any other methods, it takes years to produce one legendary piece that's actually worthwhile, besides like boots or something like that. So it would be nice to increase that significantly. Finally, we have also decided to limit the use of Season of Conquest equipment. Thank you. Outside the season, to try and make the equipment system as a whole fairer. That's definitely something that should be done. When you're in seasons 1, 2, and 3, you should not have to go up against Season of Conquest equipment. That equipment is game-changing equipment with the accessories that you can get from there. So definitely worthwhile to limit that. That should have been done from the get-go. All the changes that we have mentioned so far are still under consideration, and if all goes well, will be rolled out over the next few months in different updates. We will make sure to notify everyone of the specifics by public announcement once officially confirmed. We also would like to continue to invite everyone to make their opinions or suggestions known. Make sure you leave some feedback if you have gotten this in-game, which you should have. Now let's open up my response. And this is what I sent generically this morning when I woke up. After receiving the, hey, heads up, we just posted this in the Discords for everybody to see. We'd love to get your feedback. And we're going to obviously put this out into the game as well. So I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys what I'm also telling the developers as well. And I'd imagine it's probably something very similar to what you all would likely hear. I think for the most part, all of these changes seem positive, seem very positive to more acquisition of materials and by extension of access to materials and blueprints, access to better and better gear for the same effort, same spending. That's good. However, we've seen in the past where they've expanded the equipment pool on all these different things. My response was, as a quick response, generically, all that sounds good. Its success will definitely depend on how it's implemented in game. Traditionally, when equipment drops, rewards have been adjusted. It was to the detriment of other critical rewards like gems, speed ups, resources, etc. Read barbarians, read KVK rewards, read pretty much any event in the game that has an equipment piece to it. They lowered the other rewards to make room for equipment rewards. Will they do that again? I certainly hope not. They've already gotten nerfed to the point of really hindering a lot of players' growth in that 30, 40, 50 million range. because you need a lot of resources, you need a lot of speed ups, you need a lot of gems to not only grow your account, but once KVK rolls around, which is also on a quicker cycle now, you need those things to actually participate in the fights. So that's the idea that I wanted to make sure I put across to the development team is, listen, this is all great, but don't nerf everything else in the process. I also stated another lowering of those types of reward items in the game, and we will have a bunch of unmaxed mech med marches running around with purple gold gear and only 70% of the troops in the army because they can't even level their accounts up properly. They can't make enough troops because there's no speed ups. They can't make anything in game from a gem standpoint. It just starts nerfing the rest of the game. You don't want this to truly be Rise of Equipments. You want this to be Rise of Kingdoms with equipment augmenting it, not the other way around. You don't want the game to augment the equipment experience. You want the equipment to augment the gaming experience. So, with that being said, that's the overall view on my standpoint of how this is going to play out for equipment. I really, truly hope that they implement it in a very smart way. That being said, I think they will. They didn't state that they're going to be lowering or nerfing anything that they've already took a nerf bat to. But we'll have to wait and see. It says over the next couple months. This is obviously going to be a summertime thing, it looks like, going into the fall. I think we'll be looking forward to some very positive changes when it comes to equipment. I can't wait personally because I need so much equipment. It's out of this world. Now, let's talk about Pakal II, KJP2. We're going to have to start using acronyms for pretty much all the new commanders coming out. If you're not Korean or if you're not, Mayan, I guess, it's going to be hard to really fluidly talk about these commanders without really going into a tongue-tying session, at least for us English speakers and our inferior, less cultured ways. That being said, let's talk about this guy. KJP2 is what I'm going to be calling him. It's Kainik Janaab Pakal 2. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. For the one and only time I'm going to do it. For future reference, it's just KJP2. And this guy looks absolutely insane. The direct counter to Moctezuma's complete nonsense waste of time. This guy, the other half of the Mayan civilization's commanders, this guy is absolutely insane. Let's go over his skills. Let's talk about what that means and maybe some of his pairings that's going to be really good to pair him with. And then ultimately what his role looks to be going into the game, assuming they don't change anything on these descriptions. Let's also see if they actually decided to write the descriptions the way that they're supposed to be written and not missing large chunks of sentences or completely missing durations and things like that. So let's go number 1, balanced strategy. It's his active skill. Deals skill damage to the current target. Damage factor 1300. Seems kind of low. Damage factor 1300 seems kind of low. Let's go ahead and read the rest of them to see how that augments maybe. And troops led by this commander gain a shield for 3 seconds, which can absorb a large amount of damage. Damage factor 500. Okay, that's not bad. That's about half of an Alex or Charles shield, so nothing crazy. If you want to think about it, that's basically a Skolas coin. So first skill is 1300 damage factor from the skill itself, and also get a 3-second shield Skolas coin. That's kind of the first skill. Average to okay. Not really too excited about that first skill, other than the fact that it does a shield and a damage modifier on top of the normal damage that you provide as a rally or an army. Number 2, Ruler of Palenque. Infantry units led by this commander gain 30% increased health, okay, and 15% increased march speed. When this commander launches a rally attack, all damage dealt is increased by 5%. Okay, so all damage dealt is increased by 5% when in a rally. So open field, I can start to already see that maybe this commander is not necessarily the best for open field, but is starting to gear very, very strongly towards conquering. Obviously, the talents on this commander are infantry, conquering, and defense, which is very interesting. That's a unique talent pairing. I don't think there's any conquering, infantry, and defense commanders to date except for KJP2. So that's very nice to have. So if you think about that, the 5% damage not only applies to normal and counterattack damage, but that also applies to skill damage. So that 1300 damage gets upped from 1300 to 1360, 65, I think is the 5% increase. So we're starting to get towards normal legendary numbers. Third skill here, another passive skill when attacking strongholds or cities. So again, in rallies, technically, you shouldn't be swarming, but if you are swarming, I guess it might apply. When attacking strongholds or cities, infantry led by this commander gain 40% increased attack and have a 20% chance to dispel any currently active slow, poison, exhaust, and other weakening effects. That's huge. That's like a Theodore skill plus damage. This skill can trigger once every 10 seconds. Now, is that more Theodora or is that more Kusunoki? We're going to check after we look at this. Fourth skill, Holy Tree's Blessing, reduces all damage taken by 10%. That's huge. That's huge. That is huge. Reduces all damage taken by 10%. While on the map, again, that's for rally and open field. While on the map, that includes rallies as well. While on the map, reduces all damage taken when surrounded. Bonus reduction equals number of surrounding enemies times 5%, up to 6 armies. So up to 30% all damage taken reduction, plus the 10% you already get when surrounded. So this basically nullifies, if you are rallying with this, if you get swarmed, they're helping you more than hurting you, because it applies to all the damage. So it says, while on the map, reduces all damage taken when surrounded. It's not just the damage you're receiving, it's all the damage. It's not just the damage you're receiving from the swarming armies, it's all the damage. So if you're rallying a structure, they usually have higher damage because they have 2-3 million troops, or if it's a city, it can be upwards of 10. Depending on how big the city is, you're reducing the damage from that city as well because of the damage reduction you're providing using Holy Tree's Blessings. Wow. Mayan Strength is the expertise, and it even says new skills passive right there. When this commander launches a rally attack, all damage dealt is increased by another 5%. So that's another 5%. So now we're talking 1430. Yeah, I think 1430 damage factor. Troops led by this commander deal 3% increased counterattack damage and take 20% less damage from all sources for 5 seconds after using an active skill. This effect. That's it. This effect. If only we knew the rest. I do know the rest. It's because they released it on the Korean, Chinese, and I think Vietnamese already. They already have these out, and I think this effect can happen or take effect once every 5 seconds or something like that. That's interesting. So you gotta, if we just had somebody that was offering for free to look at this stuff for them and help them put this out correctly. Obviously, I would tell them, hey, take the new skills passive words out, because that's not part of the name of the skill. And I would say, hey, maybe you should go ahead and continue and finish this sentence here at the bottom so that it doesn't look like you don't have the rest of the skill. But looking at this commander here, I mean, this could be the new rally meta to finally take down not only Xeno Theo, which is what most people are thinking of right away, but Jadwiga Theo or Jadwiga YSS, and Xeno YSS is what I meant to say earlier. This might be the new meta to take down the current garrison meta in the game, which is again Xeno infantry versus infantry, and then you've got Jadwiga really focusing on heavy cav. This one has a obviously being heavy infantry, should be full infantry on your rallies. This should have an inherent bonus against those cav defenders. And if you paired him with the other commander we talked about yesterday, that one has a damage bonus to cavalry. So if you those two commanders together should be very, very strong in a rally. I think Guan with Pakal should be very, very strong. I think Harold second to Pakal could be very, very strong. Wow, so many possible pairings here that this looks pretty crazy. I think this is going to be the new rally meta for infantry. If I had to take a pick on which of the two I would want the most, Pakal is the 100%. I think this is the 1 seed, but I do think the other commander is going to be 1A, I think, or 1B, I should say. He's really good too. I think that I want both of these commanders, and I definitely will get both of these commanders on my main account in 307. I've got the sculptures. Got the sculptures just sitting there waiting, baby. All right, let's go take a look at... I want to go take a look at the Dispel. The Dispel from Pakal, the one where it's saying currently dispel a chance of dispelling any currently active slow, poison, exhaust, and other weakening effects. I want to go take a peek at that because I want to see if it's closer to Kusunoki's Dispel or if it's closer to Theo's Dispel. And then we'll wrap the stream up. All right, here we go. Let's look at Theo really quick for expertise. Control, slowdown, poison, exhaust, burn, and other debuffs. So this is a little different. We saw exhaust, which is inflicted by Chandra's, dispelling Chandragupta's Arthashastra skill, which is very strong, negative health and defense debuff. Let's check Kusunoki really quick. Control. See, control is silence, disarm, and heal immune. I didn't see control listed on KJP2's setup there, but I did see slowdown. So any snare, any poison, I believe, was also. So that's Tamiris. That's, well, I guess that's really only Tamiris with poison. Exhaust, again, that's Chandragupta. Other debuffs, that can be anything like attack, defense, or health debuffs. Health reduction, healing reduction skills, things like that. That's all part of the deal. He said, it says slow, poison, exhaust, and other weakening effects. So I think everything except for control stuff. So that's going to be, control stuff is, again, the silence disarm mechanic that you get with Guan, for instance, where he silences 3 targets. Let's see if I can bring that back up here. Control. Silence, disarm, and heal immunity from Ramses, for instance, would be another one. So that skill does not stop those things from happening, which that's something to consider when you're talking about considering a counter rally for what looks to be the new meta rally in Rise of Kingdoms. You might want to start looking at right off the bat things that are going to slow the progression of skills from these commanders that are coming out. Silences, disarms. You're looking at Guans, you're looking at El Cids, you're looking at, even Herman's a little bit. Those are all viable options. So, wow, these 2 new commanders are going to be insane. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I broke down, again, at the very beginning, what the new equipment changes are looking to be. And again, it could be really, 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 really good. It could be kind of good, or it could be a complete disaster depending on how they implement it. Again, I've shown you my feedback. Make sure you give the developers your feedback using the in-game mail that you received. Give them what your support information is, all that good stuff. Let them know what you think as well. If it's different from mine, that's fine. I'm just going off of my own playing experience, what I've seen and what I would like to see. You obviously make up your own mind. And then we also went over the new, what looks to be the new infantry meta commander, and really the new rally meta in the game going forward. I cannot wait to get my hands on these 2 new commanders. It's going to be insane. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one and take care.